You are now listening to the Divorce Diaries podcast with your host, well, that's a secret. No names, ages, or any other identifying characteristics will be used as we protect the young and innocent. You'll be taken on a journey as one man considers getting a divorce or remaining married. The Divorce Diaries daily entries chronicle the decision-making processes in real time as they unfold day by day. He hopes to add a bit of clarity to his sometimes muddled mess of a marriage. Cheating, overspending, sex, sadness, and betrayal are the characteristics of this marriage. Is he making the right choice? Welcome to the Divorce Diaries. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else. At Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link below in description. Now for today's episode.
Oh, Divorce Diaries. This is a podcast that is chronicling, and I've been recorded in about a month. And this is a podcast that's chronicling my divorce journey, which has become extremely dark and messy, but I'm very grateful for it because I have now realized why my marriage has been so broken over all of these years. I've understood why my soon-to-be ex-wife has felt the way that she's felt, why my children feel the way that they do toward me. I didn't know that my soon-to-be ex-wife was saying so many different... Sorry, some construction here in the background. But my soon-to-be ex-wife has been saying so many things that are flat out untrue behind my back to my children, and I was wondering, like, why does their hate seem so fresh, and why does their hate seem so new? And sorry about that. Why does their hate seem so fresh? Why does their hate seem so new? Why does their hate seem so unrelenting? And I didn't know that they had a constant feeding from my wife of things from the past, things before we got married. And they were all one-sided things. They weren't things where my wife was saying, hey, here's what I did. When I didn't let your dad know that, hypothetically, this isn't hypothetical. This is something that happened. But I'll tell you that your dad had another girlfriend before we got married. Okay. I could see how that may make a couple of kids a little bit upset. But it also makes me upset when you don't say the other part. Like, yes, Dad did get another girlfriend. But I kind of ghosted Dad, didn't tell him that we were breaking up, and I got another boyfriend. And then after some time, Dad met someone and Dad got another girlfriend. And then when he and I reconciled, he kind of broke things off with her, but it was before he and I really gave our relationship a term again, like that we're back together. So, yeah, it was a little bit, we were kind of in a gray area when he did have a girlfriend, but he was still talking to me. Because one, you shouldn't say anything like that to your kids at all. You shouldn't tell them about past relationships. But if you're going to, say the whole thing. Say exactly what you did. Say exactly what I did. You could give your perspective on it. That's fine, I guess. I just find it unhealthy and distasteful that you would say anything at all. But if you're going to say something, don't only say what the other person did that you feel was wrong. Because if you do that, now you're just trying to paint a picture of inauthenticity. Let's call it what it is. You're a fucking liar. And now that's what I know my wife is. Soon to be ex, yes, but she is an absolute liar. And this is the plight of the man like me. And there are many others, because I've talked to many, many men that don't leave the relationship because men are fixers. And we tend to open up a car hood and we stare down at it. And whether we're by ourselves, and picture this with me, close your eyes. Picture a car hood opened. It's up on jack stands. It's lifted from the ground, and the car hood is opened. And there's one man or maybe 3. They're standing over the car hood with their arms folded, silent, all of them, and they're staring. They're staring. A couple minutes go by. One guy says a brief word. He points at something. The other guys kind of unfold their arms a little bit, look in the direction and the placement of where the guy was pointing. They then maybe mumble something. Then they go back to being silent. Then another person maybe reaches at that same place. They kind of start tugging on something in that place where the other guy pointed. Then they kind of discuss that area again. Then they go back to being silent. Then another guy maybe points in another direction and starts pulling. Then they go back to being silent. There's basically this dance because in the mind of all of the men that are staring at the hood, they're all thinking of the fact that this car is overheating and what could be the problems for overheating. This car may have a hose leak. It could have a bad sensor. The radiator could be bad. They then talk about all the things that why it couldn't be the radiator's gone bad. Well, the radiator's new. Well, the radiator's still holding water. Well, this is happening. They're just talking through solutions, regimented, over and over. They're just trying to get to the solution of fixing. We men can also do the same thing in our relationships. And that is why I believe over 50% of all first marriages end in divorce in the United States. About 80% of the divorce filings are brought by women. So that means men aren't leaving the marriage because we likely do the same things when we're standing in front of the hood of the car with our arms folded. We're doing those same things. We are trying to fix the problem. We aren't going to leave the problem and not fix it because if we leave that car that has an overheating problem, we don't have transportation. Or if it's our wife's car, she doesn't have transportation. We need to fix this. Leaving this thing broken isn't a solution. Yeah, ultimately we might decide to sell the car and get another one, but that's still a solution. We're going to stay in it until it's fixed. So a broken marriage, a guy is likely going to do the same thing and he's going to stick in something until it's what? Fixed. That's why 80% of divorce filings are made by women because men don't leave. We don't abandon. We fix. It doesn't make us better or worse. Fuck that. Yes, it does. It makes us better in that regard. Because if you think that marriages ending in divorce more than they do end in till death do us part, if you think that's a good thing that more marriages end in divorce, then it's not a problem for you that women file more. But if that stat is a problem for you that more marriages end in divorce than end in till death do us part, or someone becoming a widower or a widow, then okay, you may have a different opinion. Then you are not necessarily team marriage. So respectfully, please bow out of this conversation. But for those of us that would like to see more marriages end in death, not divorce, then you would say, oh, staying in it fixes it. Or staying in it until you can find a solution to fix it is better. I'm not going to get into any outlier situations. Oh, but what if he's abusive? And what if there's a money issue? And what? No. Even if that the outlier situation, I'm just talking about the basic stuff, because usually most marriages end with irreconcilable differences or financial issues. Most marriages ending, it's not because of any form of abuse. I said most. Most marriages ending is not because of any form of abuse. It's financial or irreconcilable differences. So if you aren't willing to reconcile, it means you're not willing to fix. Because you are two people after all. You are going to have to change a bit. And change might not be change your behavior. Your change could just be accepting a little bit of the proclivities of the other person. Like if your husband really, really, really likes smoking cigars and you can't stand them, they make you sick. Well, should you guys work on something together where he has built a humidor? I think that's what they call it. It's like that room that has a fan in it or something like that for cigars to filter out the smoke. a special place in the house for him to go, or a membership at a cigar lounge where he indulges, but not in too much of an excess. He goes there twice a week, and he's home on Tuesdays and Thursdays at around 7 as opposed to 4. And you're okay with that. You like scrapbooking, and that's from like 12 to 6 on Saturdays. And your book club, that's also on Sundays. You go and do that. He's got to learn, hey, no, maybe I just don't have quote unquote access to my wife during those times. Are the two people willing to have their arms folded, quietly, standing over the proverbial open hood of a car where there's a problem, and are they both willing to stand there until the problem is solved? That's the problem with most men. And men are, unfortunately, like me, we're starting to realize that, hey, wait, our women are always looking to leave. Our women are always looking to find something more exciting, find something that they're passionate about, live their best life. There's a fear of missing out. So men are, unfortunately, for marriage, but fortunately for the individual men, we are starting to understand and realizing that our women are never really ours. We are willing to fix any problem. The women that we are with want to be on a good ride, a fun ride, when sometimes the ride is not always fun. There will be problems that require fixing, some with the form of a counselor or therapist, some where the individual might develop some sort of addiction. There might actually be abuse, financial issues, things that destroy a marriage. Lots of things could happen. Are you willing to stand over the proverbial open hood until the problem is fixed? Or do you always just want to go to the car dealership and just trade in for a new model, a new husband, where you also fall into the same crypt and tomb of, oh, when the going gets tough, I get going. I'm going to be very sexist when I say this and misogynist. Most women are not built to solve problems. Most women are built to consume and retain resources. That's why most women leave the relationship. That's why most women file for divorce. Staying in there and solving difficult problems is a difficult thing. It's hard. It's hard to do that. Let me see if I can step outside really quickly because I feel like that is a very loud vacuum cleaner. And you guys are probably hating that. Let's see here. All right. So yeah, most women are not problem solvers. Solving problems for most women is very uncomfortable. It's very frustrating. Hey, let's take it to being when we were all in school and there was that one math concept that we didn't get. All of us had trouble with something, whether it was something very rudimentary like long division, whether it was your times tables, or if it was something a little more sophisticated, geometry or trig, calculus maybe for some of us. I didn't advance quite that far in a lot of things. I only know the, let's just call them the important maths, the maths that matter to day-to-day living, those maths. That's what really resonated with me. And I didn't really have a strong desire, and I wasn't going into any career fields that would have required me to like know trig or something like that. And but when you take those things into account, think about how difficult it was and how much we all wanted to quit that thing. We all wanted to stop. We just, I don't want to do this anymore. I give up. Yeah, you could solve the problem. Maybe you get a tutor, but maybe you needed to have a parent that wasn't paying as much attention, or you weren't that prideful of a child where you could reach out to a parent and say like, hey, mom, like this sucks. I don't really understand trigonometry. Could I have a tutor? And mom actually having the money to do it. Those things are really difficult, and it's really tough when pride steps in and you have to show that you are, you know, willing and open and wanting to solve a problem and fix something. It's difficult. So you just want to, you kind of want to go through those motions, and you want to stay in there long enough where you can actually fix the problem. So it's just really funny, and watching the divorce rates go up and up and up and up, and seeing that the men and women, how we solve problems and how we fix, and men are becoming wiser and wiser and wiser, and now men are starting to, because of the quick exit rate for most women leaving marriages and all of that, they are basically shaping themselves up, the men, for saying, oh, why am I going to get married to a person that wants to leave or quit? Why am I going to get married to a person that wants to talk to her friends about our marital problems? Why am I going to get married to a person that wants to take advice from her single mother on our marriage, who she's not a part of? Men are slowly but surely getting to the place where they are saying, you know what? Nah, this isn't a good deal for me. And the key indicator, most women typically want security. And now men are becoming less and less inclined to provide security for a woman because men are now feeling less secure themselves. Thank you to feminism for saying, hey, your body, your choice. Wait, but that's my baby too that you're carrying. That's what a man says. But it doesn't matter, it's her body. So what a man is hearing, and rightfully so, you don't matter. What you want doesn't matter. Not even that we're going to get our way. Like if, let's say, we do want to keep a child and the woman wants to abort the child. We say, well, can we at least talk about it? And the response is, no. Her body, her choice. There's no talking about it. Not a plane flying overhead. But there's no talking about it, no discussion. So it's like, okay, that doesn't feel like you have a seat at the table. Okay, well, I really would like a family. And I mean, I love these qualities in you. And I thought that we agreed that you would stay home with the kids. Well, now I don't want to. Okay, I mean, that's cool. You don't have to want to. Can we talk about it? No. This is my life. It's my career. Oh, so we can't even talk about it? No, we can't. Okay. Now, there could be some outliers where, oh no, sure, we can talk about it. Okay, maybe I'll stay home for 3 years and then this will happen, or I'll stay at home until the kids get to this age or whatever. Or the worst thing, and what is becoming more and more common, the infidelity of the woman. She doesn't feel that she is being loved or cared for. Her husband's working really long hours based on the agreement that they made. And the only way that they can make ends meet is if her husband does work closer to 60-hour weeks. But because he's working those 60-hour weeks, maybe he has a little bit of a commute as well, he's not able to find the time that, or the time just isn't there. Not that he's not able to find it. The time isn't even there for them to have their intimate connections, their date nights, things like that. And it is hard. I mean, because you can do it, but to make that a priority, it can be difficult. And some people, it's just not the case in their life. Like they may be making ends meet to a point where they're really just making them meet. So the date nights that they have are just like really hard to come by, and the kids' activities, they're having to juggle those because there's not much time, but the little guy wants to play baseball. So they got to find a way to get him to baseball on Saturdays. And that would be the best time for mom and dad to go out and have a great breakfast together. And just sit down at the local Greasy Spoon and have some flapjacks for $3 each. They could afford that, but time-wise, they opted to put their kid in baseball. So now they're at the baseball diamond. And now there's two moms that are commiserating over the same rough lives that they have with husbands that aren't able to pay attention to them, but they do have some guys that have a different setup in the neighborhood, and they find themselves getting romantically involved with other men. Just like the man who's sick of dealing with his ball and chain battle axe of a wife, and he's at work. Oh, but there's this flirty coworker or secretary or something like that, and he ends up in an affair with her. The stats don't lie. The man will stand at that car with that proverbial open hood, and he will solve it and fix it. I'm not saying it's a great solution that the man will come up with, but what I'm saying is 80% of divorce filings are made by women. That is the fact. So that means women are leaving. Oh, well, they're leaving because. Let's not go there. Do that on some other show. Do that on some debate. That's not what this is. This is a actual clear articulation of women leave, men don't. 80% of divorce filings are brought by women. So in 80% of all divorce filings, women leave, men don't. Done. Women are not willing, based on that stat, to stick it out. So, unfortunately now, men are learning, and rightfully, do not enter into a marriage contract with someone in 80% of cases is going to leave it. Well, my wife's different. She's not. She's not. But I'll even say it in a little more fair way. She could be, but what is the chance? Oh, I'll tell you, 20% basically, based on that stat. There is a 20% chance that your wife is not like every other woman. If you're willing to say, you know what? She won't do it. Fine. Okay. Line up 100 women. You have to somehow date, get to know, fall into some sort of relationship with all 100 of them to get yourself to a point where you can actually basically bet on the fact that, you know what, got it. These are the 20 that I know will not file for divorce. They're going to stare at that open hood and they're going to fix it with me. They're not going to leave. Can you find the 20 out of the 100? But hey, wait a minute. Isn't that going to mean a man's got to spin plates, got to date a lot of women, got to engage with a lot of them? And like I said, you got to do it with 100. Okay, what if he just does it with 10? He's going to have to find the 2. Okay, so is a man going to date 10 women at the same time? Okay, he could. God damn, that's exhausting. And it is. And we don't want to do that. Whether women want to accept that or not, we don't want to have so many. But how are we going to find the 20? How are we going to find the 20%? Oh, well, maybe 3. 3, that's 33%. One of 3 is 33%. 2 of 3 is 66%. 3 of 3 is 100%. Well, 99.9999. But we're above 20%. So of the 3, if you pick 3, one of those women might be pickable as to the one that's not going to quit, that's not going to go for divorce. So how do you do it? How many women is enough? Well, okay, 5. Do you date 5 so you can find the one girl that is going to potentially, okay, how deep do you go? And let's say that one girl that actually wouldn't have quit finds out that you're dating 4 other women. How's that going to go? How's that going to look? How's that going to feel? No, it's not going to look good. It's not going to feel great. She might feel like she's being cheated on, and then she's going to dump your ass. So what do? I'll tell you what you do as a man. You're going to end up dating a bunch of women, never committing to any of them, and just keeping it fucking moving. And that's not good. That's not what I want. I don't want to be recording the fucking divorce diaries where people are fucking leaving each other. I don't want that. Men and women are much better together. But if 80% of divorce cases are bought by women, there's no way for a man to be high value enough to date that many women so he can pick out that 20% of women and then, or worse, what if he's dating 5 women and the 5 women that he's dating are 5 women that all are in that 20%? He just gets lucky. It's like playing Powerball. He just hits the lottery and he's just dating 5 good quality, I'm not going to quit on you or anything like that women. That's what he's doing. And he's hit the jackpot. It's great. Well, now he's juggling 5 great women, really good ones. Well, if he picks one, he's going to break 4 hearts, like for real. Break them. Break them. Is that good? Well, no, that's not good, because I don't know what those women are going to be on the other side of that breakup. I don't know if those women are now going to be jaded, hurt, scarred, because he could be honest, some might say. Be honest what? Yeah, I'm dating multiple women because, most women are shit, or most women aren't going to, or are going to leave. 80% of cases, women are bringing the divorces, so I just had to try to find the best one so I could settle down. Oh, really? So I was just a trial. Oh, and it's like, and the men are looked at as users and abusers. So then there's other guys out there that are going to eventually end up dating those women in the future, when those women are probably going to be a little bit more closed off. Yes, the marriage future is very fucking bleak, because right now, with so many men still uneducated, and they are not, let's go with an old term, men are not fucking hip to the games of women. Men are still willing to wife up women year after year. Men are getting down on one knee, and they are marrying people that in 80% of cases are going to walk the fuck out of their lives. Take their money, take their children, and take the love of their life and walk the fuck out of their lives. So men are now trying to figure out, like, how do I navigate this? It's so difficult. So that's what I did. My dad helped me with a lot of things, taught me how to use my hands, fix things. We were the guys that were standing there with our arms folded, looking at the car hood that's open. How can we fix this? Staring up into the rafters of a roof, figuring out, where do we install this attic fan? How do we put in this new valance? How do we, where do we start as far as putting this tile floor down? How do we do it? How do we do it? How do we do it? That's what my father and I did, and neither of us quit. Well, he resents me now because I ultimately did quit, because I was 14 years old and I decided that I wanted to play basketball, and I wanted to also go to my dance practice and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to be a kid, and I didn't look at it as like, hey, it's the family business. My dad was still working for the post office, and I was still going to school. So, my Saturdays didn't leave a lot of time. So, my father and I, we kind of divorced because there just wasn't enough time. And people had, he had a goal and vision, I guess, and I had a goal and vision, and they weren't simpatico all the time. So that was a very interesting dichotomy. So I was the woman in that case, and I guess I divorced. I walked out of my dad's life. Just professionally. He was still my dad, but he definitely resented me a lot after that. And kind of sucked. But men in divorce, we are fixers. We don't leave marriages. We tend to want to stay in them and fix them. Even if you want to say, well, the reason that women leave is X, Y, Z, doesn't fucking matter. Just like the man wanting to keep a baby when a woman wants to abort it, and his opinion doesn't fucking matter. No one's opinion matters to this stat. In 80% of cases, women leave. In 80% of cases. So, men, don't be angry. Just figure out what's the best thing for you, and if you think that marriage is a good bet, you've got an 80% chance of losing the game. Is it a good bet?
Wow, that was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.